Hello and welcome to the first tutorial of working efficiently in Photoshop. The whole purpose of this series is to make non-destructive edits to files and to preserve those original files so later on you can make quick updates and changes without having to spend a lot of time doing that or having to redo what you had previously done. It's also beneficial to be able to quickly maneuver within your Photoshop file. In this first tutorial we're going to be learning about masks, and there's a lot of benefits to masks, as we'll find out. We're going to be working with this file, which is a banner that has a lot of layers involved. There's a lot of masks, smart objects, effects and filters, adjustments that are all what we're going to be using to work efficiently in Photoshop. So I went ahead and opened this image of this family embracing, and we're going to be applying a mask to remove the background from this foreground of the family. And there are two different types of masks. There's a vector mask and a pixel mask. And a vector mask uses mathematical points to draw shapes, and you can draw those shapes using the pen tool and by masking out objects. The pixel mask uses pixels, and if you paint a pixel black, it'll remove that pixel. If you paint it white with the pixel mask, it'll add that pixel back in. We're going to be working first with the vector mask. So go ahead from the toolbar and select the pen tool, and then also open up the mask window. If that is not open, go to your top menu and select window and then masks from the drop down. I'm also going to go ahead and double click on the image of this family, and we'll get a pop-up and just select OK. And what this does is it unlocks the layer. And then click the right icon in the masks window, and this is the button for adding vector mask. And then also make sure you see at this top toolbar, or the top tools window, there's the options for a path and there's options for a shape, and we want the option for a shape selected. So I'm going to zoom in to this bottom corner, and I'll select my pen tool again, and when I click, it makes an anchor point, and when I drag, it's the handlebars, and the handlebars are the direction of my path. When you work more with these, you'll start to really get a feel for how these work. And then I'm going to create an anchor point here, and as you can see, we have this nice curve developing. And as I let go, you can see the masker is already being applied, but now I can't see my image. So in the mask window, go ahead and change the density. As you see, you can drag it down. You see the image revealing. I'm going to go ahead and put it to 0, because that way I can see the full image. When I drew that last anchor point, I drug the handlebars in this direction, and I want to change directions. I don't want to go this way anymore. What I can do is you can hold down the Alt key and select on that anchor point, and what it does is it removes the handlebars in the direction that you had previously drawn. And now I can continue on selecting around this girl. Alright, as you can see, I have completed tracing the path along the shape, and the background is now no longer visible. And if we decrease the density of the mask, you can see the background is now visible. That is how you make a vector mask. I'm going to show you how to turn this vector mask into a pixel mask. To do that, you select the direct selection tool from the toolbar, and it's the one that's below the pen tool. Now click on the path that you created with the vector mask. Right click and select Make Selection. Click OK, and you can see that the selection is now made. If you go to the bottom right side, there's this set of tools here. If you click on the square icon with the round circle in the middle, click on that, and it doesn't look like anything changed. But if you look in your layers panel, you can see that a thumbnail has been added, and that's the pixel mask. If I disable the vector mask, it looks like nothing happened. but that's because the pixel mask has taken on the same selection as the vector mask. And if I disable the layer mask for the pixel mask, you can see that the background is now visible. And to enable and disable these, what I'm doing is right-clicking and just selecting enable or disable. And you're probably asking yourself, why would you convert a vector mask into a pixel mask? Because it looks like it's doing the same thing. And the reason is because you get options to manipulate this pixel mask. If you click on the thumbnail for the vector mask, the options for mask edge, range, color range, and invert are not available in the mask window. And if you click on the pixel mask, you can now see that those options are enabled. If you click on mask edge, I'll show you what these tools do. You can feather this edge of the selection. You can contract it. Now you can see that you see less of the people. And if you expand it, you're going to see more of the background. You can choose how much you want it feathered, and the contrast of the feathered edge. If I increase it, you can see that it's not really that feathered. If you decrease it, you see that there's a lot more feathering going on. I'm going to select cancel, but you can see that you get other options to manipulate your subject. And that's one way of creating a pixel mask. Another way I'm going to show you, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select, hold the Alt key, and then click on your layer and drag down and let go. And that's how you just duplicate the layer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the vector mask, and I'm going to delete the pixel mask. Now you can see that those are completely gone. I'm going to move that layer to the top, and now you can see that this is just the original file that we used. Earlier I told you that if you paint a pixel mask black, it removes, and if you paint it white, it adds. So again, we're going to select make sure your image is selected, and then click on that icon for the mask, and that's the square icon with the round center. And I'm going to zoom in here, and I have my black is in my foreground, so that means I'm going to be removing part of the image. And as you can see, I'm just brushing. I'm going to turn this layer off. You can see that I went into the image, but you're like, hey, that's okay because it's a mask. If I hit X, it toggles back and forth between these two colors, you can see. And white adds back. So I'm going to add the white back in. Alright, let's try this again. So you can follow along the edge, and you can see I'm doing a sloppy job. It's a little more difficult with the mouse. If you have a Wacom tablet, it's a little easier. But you can see essentially it's doing the same thing. It's removing that background by using the brush tool. This is just another way to perform a mask. I prefer using a vector mask because I feel it's quicker, and you're able to make smooth curves because you're making 2 points, and you're able to create a really nice curve between those 2 points. Versus, with you're trying to move a mouse around along a curve, you get a little jagged. So those are some options on how to do masks. You have a vector, a pixel, and you have a variety of ways to create those. I'm going to go ahead and delete that layer. Turn this layer back on that has the vector and the pixel mask. What I'm going to do is I'm going to now take this image, our cutout image, and drop it into the banner file. I'm going to move it up because now it's in the back. Okay. You can see it's way too large. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert it to a smart object, and I'm going to make it smaller so it fits ever so nicely into this area. Alright. Now I like the placement of that, but we have a problem. You can see that the banner is on the corners. It's further in than it is in the middle. It's kind of bowing out here in the middle. So my family image is outside of the boundaries of this banner, and that's not good. So this banner, background banner, it's a shape. I used the pen tool to create a shape, and you can see if I zoom in, here's my anchor point, there's my handles. This is a vector, and that is the path. So automatically when you create a shape in Photoshop, it generates a vector mask. Now I'm going to hold the Alt key and select on the vector thumb, and I'm going to drag it up and drop it over top of the family. So that's copying that vector mask and placing it onto the family mask. And you can see now that the family is now subtracted where they were out of bounds of the banner. So that's another way you can do masks, is you can copy them from previous shapes. Okay, another type of mask is a clipping mask. Now, a clipping mask can be used if you want an image to conform to the shape of something else, to fill in the shape of something else. And I'll show you an example of that. That might sound confusing now. I'm going to turn off the colored paper and the banner background. And I'm going to draw us a star. Okay, you can see the star there. What I want now is I want this family image to fill in the star. So I need to rearrange the layers. I'm going to put the star layer on the bottom and the family layer on top of that. If I hold the Alt key and select in between these new layers, you'll see that an icon appears, and click, voila, the family image is now inside. It has conformed within that star. And I can select on this family image and move it around, and I'm moving it within the star. The star has not moved, and I can place that wherever I want it. So there you have clipping masks. Alright, lastly and quickly, I'm going to talk about applying masks to a group of layers instead of layers individually. I have deleted the star, and I'm going to change our family's blend mode to luminosity, and you can see we get this cool effect. I'm also going to turn on a layer of smoke and swirls I previously made, and each one of these lines of these swirls are individual layers, and we have the little amber glows on a separate layer, and then also the smoke in the background here on a different layer. Now all of these are grouped into one layer, and as you can see here, if I zoom in, the smoke and the little ambers have gone beyond this colored area, and I don't want that. And instead of applying a mask to these all individually, I can apply it to as a group. So click on the layer mask, and I can just quickly mask out that area that they were going beyond that edge. And voila, there you have it. You can see that that is masked out on that group of layers. Thank you for watching this tutorial on masks. Next tutorial will be on smart objects. I hope you enjoyed it. Comment, let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you next time.